Hello everyone, I welcome you all to Manu Law Classes Current Affair Analysis. In this particular analysis, we will discuss July 26, The Hindu Delhi editorial newspaper, Delhi edition newspaper. In this particular newspaper, we will first discuss about no confidence motion. Then we will discuss about Chandrayaan 3 mission. Then we will discuss about the gig workers reform bill which has been passed by the Rajasthan government. Then we will discuss about the monsoonal rain and also about how it is creating havoc in Himalayan areas or Himalaya regions. Then we will discuss about the other sections which are of international importance. So let's begin our discussion with the very first news analysis that is coming in from this particular news section, and here it is said that opposition plans no trust motion against the Modi government. So here basically, as we know, there has been in news that opposition party, they are forming a group that is named Indian National Development Inclusive Alliance or India, and it is planning to move a no confidence motion against Modi government. So we will discuss in detail about what is the no confidence motion and how it is being initiated and what happens if no confidence motion has been passed. So first we will discuss about no confidence motion. It is basically a parliamentary motion that is moved in the Lok Sabha against the entire Council of Ministers. For example, entire Council of Ministers. For example, as we know, it has been fixed by the amendment that only 10% or the 15% of the Lok Sabha can be the Council of Ministers. So here basically these 15% of Lok Sabha member who are forming the Council of Ministers, they are working as executive, and the rest all Lok Sabha member, they are working as legislative. So it is basically a sense or a motion of confidence in which the legislative show their confidence or no confidence in the executive. So it is basically a parliamentary motion that is moved in the Lok Sabha, which is against the entire Council of Ministers who are working as executive at the same time. Okay. And also the minister or these legislatives, they pass this no confidence motion as they believe that they are not fit, all the Council of Ministers are not fit or they are unfit to hold the position of responsibility due to their inadequacy in some respect or their failure to carry out their obligation. No prior reason is needed to be stated for its adoption in the Lok Sabha, and the procedure to move a no confidence motion was basically introduced in Lok Sabha under Rule 198, and it can only be passed in Lok Sabha. It cannot be passed in Rajya Sabha. Just remember this point. Okay, it cannot be passed in Rajya Sabha. It is only passed in Lok Sabha. The Constitution of India does not mention about either a confidence or a no confidence motion. Although under Article 75 of Indian Constitution, it definitely identify or specify the Council of Ministers that they shall be collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. Okay, the Council of Ministers under Article 75, they are collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha, and a motion of no confidence can be admitted when a minimum of 50 members, support this motion, and basically it can be adopted only after this much of support. If the motion is passed in the House, then the government has to vacate the office. Now, a no confidence motion needs majority of the House. It cannot be passed for the minority. It needs a majority of the House. And if the individual or the parties abstain from voting, those number will be removed from the overall strength of the House, and then the majority will be taken into account. So basically, those who are present and voting, their number or their majority will be taken into account when no confidence motion is being passed. So this is a basic or a static idea which you should know about the no confidence motion. Moving further toward our next important article, that is basically coming in from Delhi. And here Delhi is saying that they did not get enough tax, or they got astonishingly low tax, that is 350 crore from the past 23 years. So here basically in the devolution of the central tax, the capital share is very low as claimed by the Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, and in the ordinance which was introduced to regulate the services, this particular act is also diminishing the position of Delhi. Okay, so this has been already stated by our Chief Minister of Delhi, that is Arvind Kejriwal. Now there is also a new important term, that is fire NOC. The MCD has said that it will close down all the coaching centers who are operating without a no objection certificate from the fire department. So this was in news, only this much is important from examination point of view. Moving further toward our next important article, that is coming in from international relation. Here basically Sri Lankan Navy has arrested 9 Tamil Nadu fishermen and seizes their 2 boats. It has been in news quite since a long time, like recently the President Ranil Wickremesinghe, he is the president of Sri Lanka, and he visited India. There was talk on the 13th amendment to maintain the dignity and the integrity of the Tamilians who are living in Sri Lanka. So there was talk on all these things, and amid that Sri Lankan Navy is doing such thing. So it is basically wavering the trust of Sri Lanka, or the Sri Lankans or the Tamilians trust in Sri Lanka. Okay, so that's why it is important. Moving further toward our next important article, that is coming in from the editorial section, but before that we will discuss a small news that is about the Chandrayaan 3. So ISRO will perform a translunar injection on August 1 to slingshot Chandrayaan 3 toward moon. So here basically ISRO has stated that it has completed, the Chandrayaan 3 has completed its fifth and final orbit raising maneuver. That means that earthbound perigee firing, like this was the first, second, third, fourth, and now the next was fifth. So here basically the Chandrayaan 3, when it came out of the earth, so it completed its first maneuver, then second, then third, then fourth, then fifth. So it is now in its fifth stage, and then after that it will go into the moon bound maneuver. Okay, so now Chandrayaan 3 is in its fifth and final orbit raising maneuver, and it was performed successfully as said by ISRO telemetry, tracking and command network, which is situated or located in Bangalore. So we have already discussed quite since a long time about the spacecraft, that how much is its specification. So the spacecraft is expected to attain an orbit of 1,27,600 kilometers, cross 236 kilometers. This means Chandrayaan 3 is now in an orbit which, when closest to the Earth, is at 236 kilometers and farthest is at 1,27,609 kilometers. So this achieved orbit will be confirmed after the observation, and here the 4 earlier orbit raising maneuvers, they were performed by the ICTRAC, that means ISRO telemetry, tracking and command network, and also it was performed between July 15 to July 20, and this was the final orbit raising maneuver, and ISRO will perform the translunar injection on August 1st, like it will enter into the orbit or the moon-bound maneuver on August 1st. The next firing, the translunar injection, is planned on August 1, 2023 between midnight 1 am, and the Chandrayaan 3 consists of lander module, propulsion module and a rover, which was launched by LVM-3M4. Okay, just remember the name and what it is consisting of. And also it is also consisting of shape, payload. Okay, to track the habitable signatures of life. Okay, now the TLI takes place. The Prime Minister, the propulsion module and the lander module separation will happen on August 17, and then definitely it will enter, or it will, the rover will move on the surface of moon or the lunar surface. So this was an important news which we discussed under this particular article. Now moving on toward our important article from the editorial section, that is regarding the gig workers struggle, and that is regarding the new law which has been passed by the Rajasthan government. So the Rajasthan Platform Based Gig Worker Registration and Welfare Act 2023 was passed in the Rajasthan Assembly on July 24. And this particular act, this is relating to the gig worker and empowering them. It consists of a welfare fund, it consists of a welfare fees, and also there is a provision of litigation, or there is a provision of a dispute resolution mechanism. So these are important features of this particular act. So now here, because this has been in news, gig workers, their condition, it has been in news quite since a long time, and that is why the Rajasthan government is the first state government to launch such act. So if we talk in detail about what is gig, so gig draws its etymological origin from the jazz musician doing short time based performance called the gigs for a predetermined fees. And from there the word gig economy or the gig workers, this term is derived. In capitalist economy, it is applied to this definition to current working arrangement to escape from the employer-employee relationship of any kind. Under gig economy, more than minute contractualization of work where the employer escape from the responsibility. For example, if I am an employer and you are an employee, I will not sign you as my worker or I will sign you as my partner. Okay? पार्टनर की तरह यहाँ पे साइन होगा और वर्कर की तरह साइन नहीं होगा, तो मेरे ऊपर अपने वर्कफोर्स को मेंटेन करने की जितनी भी लाइबिलिटी है मैं उससे फ्री हो जाऊंगी और यहाँ पे हम पार्टनर की तरह काम करेंगे. आई विल हैव नो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, only you will work for money and I will give you that money and we will work as a partner. No responsibility that you should get any payment when you are sick or you should get any old age pension. These things are not there in gig economy. So here basically this is the main aim or this is the exploitation which gig worker was facing, and that's why this particular law was introduced. For example, in transport based workers such as Uber and Ola, we have seen Uber and Ola workers. Here an aggregator uses an app based platform to connect the customer and the driver, and for which they get the healthy commission. So here the aggregator is getting only money without responsibility. So the app which has been operationalized with the help of algorithm does the rest, and including the fixing of the route, regulating the ride, paying taxes, delivering profit to the company, and aggregator is just free from any responsibility. So if the worker does not comply with the condition, then what happens? Their ID is blocked, and this causes temporarily digital punishment or digital dismission. So this particular act is basically, this particular work culture is basically exploiting the workers, and they are not designated as worker, they are employed as partner. So that's why there is no employer responsibility for the wages, for the working condition or for the social security. For example, providing a living wage is not their responsibility. Providing a condition, a good working culture or good working condition is not their responsibility. So that's why the aggregator is only getting money or the company is only getting money, and here the people or those who are working as gig workers, they are exploited. So around the world, drawing inspiration and power from the architecture and legal regime of the market fundamentalist, company have resisted taking most basic responsibility for the dignity and the fair working condition of the workers. Because the nature of gig worker is unorganized work, that's why it leaves the worker at the mercy of the cartel of the employers. Cartel means like a small grouping of 2-3 companies. For example, in this sector, the transport based sector, there are 2-3 companies which are prominent like Ola, Uber, or there are Rapido kind of thing. So these are the famous companies. They form a group and they will form a cartel, and based on like what they decide, like for example Ola, Uber and Rapido decide that they will not provide social security, to their workers or to their partners. So it's based on their discretion. So that's the problem, that they are working as an unorganized workers and still they are not getting any support or any social security scheme from their employer. So this basically create a problem. For example, if I have a company and where there are few employees, so we can organize ourselves and we can form a labor union, but this is not the case in these kind of economy, gig economy. Here they are not organized, that's why they cannot form labor union or they cannot work for the collective bargaining like all the workers who are working as a gig worker. They cannot organize themselves and collectively bargain from these big companies. So that's why there is a discretion of these companies that how they want to lead. This is why Rajasthan has brought such a good law that is based on the gig worker welfare of gig worker. The workers and their infant union and the civil society citizen group who support them made demand that even the aggregator could not refuse, and they demanded social security right through a board which is to be set up for the gig workers welfare law, and aggregator have acknowledged that the worker should have some social security and aggregator will also pay a welfare fees. Okay, the aggregator will also pay a welfare fees to the in this particular welfare fund, and here their these employees, their social security, their old age pension, these can be ensured. So that's the incidence that has happened. Some companies claim that they take out accident and death insurance at the company cost, but actually they do not provide any social security which is to be a part of wage which is earned by the worker. All the basic human need, including the moment of crisis when the worker is unable to work because of the ill health, old age, or even leave. So they have to work. If they work, then only they will get the payment, and if they don't work, they will not get any payment. So that's the reason these gig workers are basically facing such a problem, and they are working for long hours all throughout the week, and they are also socially, mentally harassed, or sometimes they are under very much stress. That is the main reason. This causes ill health, and when they are not working, they will not get any payment because there is no social security. That's why Rajasthan law is basically working for this particular problem, and it has introduced such a good bill. Now, the law is basically based on one model, that is Hamal model. 60 years ago, there were people who carried out a sack on their head and shoulder, Hamals, and they formed a union called the Hamal Panchayat in Maharashtra. They were facing the same problem as the gig workers are facing today, and they formed Hamal Panchayat, and there they resorted that they need to get some social security scheme or some humane condition of work, and that was a very successful model. So based on that, because here there is a probability of collective bargaining, all the people are working together, they are collectively asking the company to implement such law, and that is the main reason that here this particular Hamal Panchayat was able to get like accident insurance, or in case of illness they get some money, or in case of old age they get some payment. So that's why this particular Hamal Panchayat model, it was led by Baba Adham, and he is now 94 years old, and he set up a Mathadi board which could register the workers and merchant who used to work as the labor of Hamals. So that's why this is a very successful model, and based on that this particular scheme by Rajasthan government has been introduced. Okay. Now, our next important article is from the CHIS, that is Controlled Human Infection Study. So, what is Controlled Human Infection Studies? If we talk about that, so CHIS is a condition in which a healthy person or a healthy human, he is exposed to certain disease-causing pathogens and under a controlled and monitored environment, and based on that a study is being conducted by the professional to study the efficacy or the efficiency of the medicines and the vaccines. So this is what it is. This is CHIS, that is Controlled Human Infection Study. All the human challenge where human volunteers are intentionally exposed to a disease causing microbes in a highly controlled and monitored environment, and then there is basically a drug test which is being conducted or a vaccine test which is being conducted to study their efficiency. Moving further toward our next important article, that is moving away from the take, make, dispose model. So here basically the author is saying that India is working for take, make, dispose to reduce, reuse, recycle model, and India has prioritized resource efficiency and circular economy. This is said by our important leaders in the G20 forum. So here basically, as we know, India has the presidency of G20 and it has set 4 priority areas which include circularity in the steel sector, extended producer responsibility, circular bioeconomy, and establishing an industry-led resource efficiency and also a circular economy industry coalition. So basically all these things have been implemented under India's G20 presidency and it is working toward a circular economy and resource efficiency and circular economy. So here basically what it will do, for example, moving to a circular steel sector, in this particular sector, the gas emission which is basically done or the greenhouse gas emission which takes place when we are working or processing the steel. So India is working to eliminate that and it can consume by being more environmentally responsible. So this has shown that it has a recycling rate of 15 to 25%. And also there is infrastructure development which causes efficient utilization and the demand for steel poised to grow, especially in the growing economy, and that's why there is a need to have an energy sector which is basically built on circular economy. Okay, how to tackle this? Basically from knowledge sharing, technology transfer and the technology co-development. These are the ways through which we can run on a circular economy and reduce the waste. And also there is a term that is EPR or the extended producer responsibility. For example, it is basically implemented in the plastic reduction. Here basically what happens, for example, you purchase something from a market and it is having plastic component or e-waste component. For example, you buy a laptop or you buy something and then when you use it, you cannot throw it. You can it is the responsibility of the producer to see the effective disposal of this particular e-waste. So here the producer is liable for this particular e-waste. So that's what it is happening and it is coming under, all these sectors are now coming under EPR, extended producer responsibility. It is their responsibility to work on the circularity or to work for the circular economy, and also it is their responsibility to ensure safe disposal of these e-waste or these waste. Okay, so India is working for that. Then comes the recycling, bioeconomy and biofuels. Here are few important schemes which has been mentioned. For example, Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Yojana. It provides financial support to the integrated bioethanol project which is to be set up for the second generation ethanol project. 2G bioethanol technology produces bioethanol waste feedstock such as crop residue, municipal solid waste and that would otherwise have no value. So here what will happen, for example, if I grow some crop and there is some crop which has been destroyed because of any reason, pest attack or because of the bad harvest or something like that, so we can convert that waste feedstock or such crop residue into ethanol. We can convert that into ethanol. So that is second generation or 2G ethanol project. So under this, it has been this waste has been utilized also. We are working towards circular and more sustainable economy, and along with that, those peasants who harvested, who got a bad harvest, they are also getting money and their economic stability has been ensured. So here basically there are other schemes like the galvanizing organic bioagro resources or the Gobardhan scheme. It has been launched by the government of India to convert cattle dung and other organic waste into compost, biogas, biofuels in order to promote the sustainable agriculture and reduce the pollution. Then next scheme which is being mentioned for the circular economy is the SATAT scheme, that is Sustainable Alternative Toward Affordable Transportation, which was launched in the year of 2018 to promote the use of the compressed biogas as an alternative of the green transportation fuel, which has aided the bioenergy sector by accelerating the development of the infrastructure for the production, storage and distribution of the CBG. So please do refer about these schemes in detail. Just cover these schemes in detail, which has been mentioned in this particular article, and read more about the biofuels, the ethanol blending program, because these are associated knowledge which you should get. So the author is saying by implementing all such things, we will move toward a circular economy and a more sustainable economy. Now moving further toward our next important article, that is from the text and the context section. Here we will discuss about the Himalayan flood. As we can see, there are a lot of instances of flash floods. So during this monsoon year, there has been a lot of instances of flash floods in Himachal Pradesh and also in the northern part of India like Delhi and all these area. They are facing the issue of flash flood. So one of the main reason, obviously there is a reason of climate change. No one can deny that. But apart from that, the second major reason is the anthropogenic cause. And what comes under this anthropogenic cause? Unplanned city development, which include the unplanned or the more number of the hydroelectric power plant development. So under this particular article, it has been mentioned that the IPCC report, it has clearly stated that Himalayas and the coastal regions of the India will be the hardest hit by the climate change. In the Himalaya region, we have already seen there has been increased precipitation, increased instances of the rainfall in the shorter period of time. Apart from that, IMD has also claimed that the normal rainfall during the period is expected to be between 720 mm to 750 mm, but in certain instances it is exceeded the 888 mm in 2010 and 926.9 mm in 2018, and this year it is very much instances of the precipitation because of the combination of the southwest monsoon wind, which is already causing rain in maximum part of India, and also the western disturbance. So these two winds combined, they created heavy rainfall in all these areas in the northern part of India. Okay. Now, apart from climate change, there are also factors which are related to the anthropogenic activities. For example, recently we have seen there is much instances of uncontrolled construction of the hydropower project. It is basically to transform the mountain river into mere streams, like we are running this technology on the run of the river dam, and we are diverting water through the tunnels burrowed into the mountains. So this causes a lot of problems or a lot of like landsliding or urban flooding. These problems are caused because of the uncontrolled construction of the hydropower project. And the destructive process is evident in river like the Parvati, Beas, Satluj, where a large number of the small hydropower projects have been constructed. Now, the second most important reason is the road construction. For example, we have seen the Char Dham road project or the Char Dham road expansion project. Under this, in these areas, the Char Dham areas, here basically what is going, there is an extension of road. And also in other areas like we have seen in Katra, in the Katra in Jammu, Vaishno Devi temple, the roads are being extended and in order to attract a large number of visitors. So this road widening project is also being a problem because it is disturbing the geological balance and the mountain balance, and that is the main reason that in this particular area there has been instances, even if normal rainfall occur, there is massive landslides. Okay, so these are the major reasons. Now, other important anthropogenic activities is construction of the cement plant. So in this cement plant, basically in Bilaspur, Solan, Chamba region, The flash flood occurred during the rainfall, during the normal rainfall. This is because a large number of cement plant has been constructed by cutting the mountain in these districts. So these are the important reasons that we are seeing a lot of instances of flash floods. Okay. Apart from that, this is also leading to the crop pattern changing. Okay. The crop pattern are being changed because of all these instances, and the crop prices, they are also increasing, leading to additional trouble. So these are the reasons why there has been instances of flash flooding. So in order to study the way out, a commission of inquiry has been instituted, which will provide the major stakeholder, the people on board, and discuss both the policy framework failure as well as the ideas that how it can be implemented or how these projects are implemented. They are hurting the ecological balance. So these things will be done after this commission of inquiry will be established. Moving further toward our next important article. Here basically the article is on 100% reserve banking. Under the full reserve banking or 100% reserve banking, it is a system of banking where the bank are not allowed to lend out money that they receive from the customer in the form of demand deposit. Just note down this important point. This is very important. 3 points is important in this particular article. First of all is 100% reserve banking system. Second one is demand deposit. What is demand deposit? And the third one is what is time deposit. Okay. So first is full reserve banking or 100% reserve banking. It is a system in which the banks are not allowed to lend out money that they receive the customer in the form of demand deposit. So what is demand deposit? Demand deposit is something in which the deposits the customer can withdraw back at any point of time without any prior notice. Like for example, if I go in a bank and I do the demand deposit, so I can withdraw it any point of time, like for example tomorrow, day after tomorrow, anytime whenever I want. So this is demand deposit. On the other hand, what is time deposit? Under the time deposit that customer can withdraw from bank only after a certain period of time that is agreed upon between the banks and its customer. For example, I deposit 50,000 rupees in time deposit. So what will happen? In time deposit, I said that fix it for 1 year. So I can withdraw this money only after 1 year. I cannot withdraw at any time. But in demand deposit, there is no time limitation and we can withdraw it at any time. So in the banking system, what happens basically, maximum payment are done through check or they are done through electronic medium. So the banks are running out of the cash thing. They don't have that much of cash. But whenever someone comes for loan, so they give out all the cash deposit which is there in this particular scenario, which is there present at that particular time. So this basically causes a number of reasons has been there, because checks and other non-cash instrument which ensure the demand for cash remains minimal. So that's why there is an imminent risk on the banks. Like if suppose they have given 50,000 of loan to someone else, and if at the other time I will come that my money is there in demand deposit, just return my money. So there can be a crisis. But usually this crisis never happens because many times the transaction is done through electronic mode, whether it's us or whether it's bank. So that's why this problem is limited because of these modes of transaction. So just three important points is important. First is full reserve banking, demand deposit and time deposit. What are these? Okay. Moving further toward our next important article that is coming in from the next section, that is the world affairs, where we will discuss about important world affairs news. So here basically the important news is about the Chinese official. He is being suspended death sentence over 25 million bribes. So he has been the former communist party chief. He has been suspended or he has been handed a death sentence within 2 years of suspension after he found guilty for taking the bribe. Okay. And there is also another important appointment related news, that is Pedro Sanchez. He was on Tuesday formally named as the caretaker prime minister of an interim government that will remain in place in Spain. So just remember, his name, that is Pedro Sanchez, but there has been uncertainty that remains for being Sanchez is an interim prime minister. Okay, so just remember this important name. Then also China, Russia will send delegates to North Korea, and as this event like 70th anniversary of the armistice that has halted fighting in 1950 to 53 Korean War. So to commemorate this particular instance, there has been like a ceremony which will be conducted and in which China will and Russia will send its delegates. So these are important news, and there is also one more important news, that is US First Lady Jill Biden attended the flag raising ceremony of UNESCO at Paris. So you have to study about UNESCO, what are the objectives of UNESCO, where is the headquarter, and who are the member, how it was formed. These static aspects you should remember about any organization which is there in news. So this is all for today. I hope you liked the lecture. I hope you got to know a lot of important things. We will meet in our next video with all such informative information. Thank you everyone. Thank you for attending this lecture. Thank you.